Are you sick of your god-paced speedruns dying to...
It's over. It's over. It's over. It's over.
Oh, for fuck's sake. No, you're not. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of idiot dumb fucks like you. I've gotta come home from a long day of being an absolute bad bitch to watch your decrepit ass Death Chamber X20 speedrun that barely makes threshold and moan at your basic strat backwards hat the cat looking ass average over 1 minute per set. My boner balls. Right now, you're being this guy. But that's okay, my video is going to make you this guy. Strap in. It's gaming time. Hi everyone and welcome back to Playing Like Savik episode 8. So today we're going to be covering Death Chamber, which is a stage notorious for being by far the most tech heavy knuckle stage. We're talking so heavy on tech, it's like trying to lift an entire Apple store with a robot suit made of Teslas. So this video is probably going to end up being very long, and I'll split it apart into a few different segments and timestamps that I'll put in the description of the video. Without further ado, let's get into the first and most essential part of learning Death Chamber. Learning the pieces. 2 containers? Nope. 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 Ah! Finally! Stupid piece. There's more than 2 containers in this fucking stage.
I found it.
7 minutes?! Hi, are you sad and lonely? Good. It's time to make you sadder. This stage has like a bajillion pieces, and I'm not gonna let you do any speedruns until you learn them. Seriously, it's like forbidden. I'm not gonna go through all of them in this video because we'll be going until next Ramadan, but I trust that you'll practice on your own accord, and I'll slip you a little industry secret passcode in the description of this video to a sheet with all of the answers, so make sure to check that out. However, I will quickly show you some of the rarer pieces that don't come up as often, since you're unlikely to come across them in practice. Scramble for the skull.
That's closer. One more left.
2 containers.
One more left.
My personal favorite, heart. You can see it far away, but you can't see it when you get closer.
It's closer. One more left.
Good to note that this one is pretty much right underneath the blue room door, where the light used to be shining. Yes, that does say shining and not shining. And rescue Chow, who is haunted by a scorpion.
I found him.
So yeah, make damn sure that you know where all the pieces are before you start speedruns, or I will know, and I will find you. General movements! Hey Jeremy, you wanna buy some weed?
It's over.
Fuck you! So let's get started with the first thing that you'll do upon loading into the stage. Note that this pretty much applies for every single time you will load into Death Chamber, except if you have a free piece, and we'll cover those later in the video. So what I always do is this. And to break that down a little bit, essentially what I'm doing is I'm immediately going to jump when I load in, just so I get enough height so I can glide towards this upper platform ledge here. And as soon as I have enough height to do that, I will immediately glide towards this hint on the left. You can also go towards the one on the right. I don't know, people tend to just go towards the one on the left. I don't know if there's actually a benefit for this. They both seem about equal to me in timing and stuff, and there's no real hindrance in terms of free piece checks you can do if you go to the one on the right, so it's entirely your choice, but know that most people will go to the left here, and then I'll start running towards this hint. I will immediately read the left hint, or the right hint in your case if you want to be strange, and then as I'm reading the hint, I will go and preemptively hit this hourglass before I've even noticed what the hint says, because this hint could be anything at this point. And the reason I do that is to not waste any time, so while I'm reading the hint, I will hit the hourglass preemptively, because there are 4 different scenarios to where your hint could be, where your piece could be from reading the hint, and the first one is, it could be a core piece, in which case you will immediately want to go straight through this door, which is convenient because you just hit the hourglass while you were reading the hint, so you're just going to go ahead and go straight through that door. Alternatively, say if I had a piece like Fire Dance, it's actually faster to booty clip for this piece. But at this point, after hitting the hourglass, I mean, you're no further away from booty clip than you were before when you read the hint. So you might as well just continue on like you would normally and then go straight to the booty clip, go straight out of bounds and straight towards your piece. The third thing that could happen is that you could have a piece like Burning Mad that is in the red and green path area, in which case you've hit the hourglass already, so now you can just go straight towards this corridor, and the door, it's kind of hard to time this, it's a little bit harsh, but you can make it through this door as it's closing and then continue on the run as normal. And in this case, hitting the hourglass preemptively as you were reading the hint was a huge time save, because you did not have to wait to calculate which direction you need to go before you read that hint. And the final scenario is if you had a piece like Angry Man, in which case you would just run straight down here and dig into the wall painting floor, but once again, you're no further away from this wall painting than you would have been from reading the hint anyway, so hitting this hourglass overall will only serve to save you time on average. I worded that poorly, I meant like hitting the hourglass as you read the hint. I'm not the best at explaining things, so hopefully you understand what I mean. Alright, now that you've started moving in the stage, let's cover some basic movement techniques to help you move faster throughout the stage. When running through this doorway towards core, make sure that when you land on the wall, you quickly always scrape against the leftmost edge, because this will actually make you climb a little bit faster, and then when you reach the top of this climb, jump and glide onto this part of the frame here, and then do a punch yourself quickly. And from here, you could either jump, if you time it right, or you could just keep running onto the floor, on the upper raised part of this floor, which is most likely what you're going to do if you're running into core. The same technique should always be used in the exact same way if you enter a green room from the core side as well. Whilst traversing red-green path, it is really important to know that these hieroglyph-ridden floors are really diggable, and you'll dig into them every single time. But the entranceways, these like door frames, you cannot dig into them at all, and they're really solid. Now you may be wondering why this is important, but keep in mind that every single door frame is a non-diggable surface, so that means also the ones down here, this is also a non-diggable surface, which means to get down this pulley area really quickly, you don't really have to worry about digging into the floor as long as you make sure that you land in the middle of this door frame. So for a good example of that, since I kind of messed up a little bit there, say I was coming down red-green right now. Notice how I landed immediately on the floor and did a puncher cell, because I was able to land in the door frame there. I would now continue on the run like normal. And obviously the same logic can be applied going the other way as well. When going through a wall painting like this one, the red-blue, you can actually drill dive immediately as you emerge from the other side, as you saw me do there, and this is really fast because this floor is non-diggable, so you shouldn't have to worry about digging when you land or anything. It is diggable on the way back, so what I typically do is I cancel it out with a glide, but on the way to blue from red, make sure you're taking advantage of this. On the way to red from blue, just outside of blue machine path, you can actually use these gammas to boost yourself a little bit further up the wall if you land just next to them and then jump into them. This is kind of a difficult thing to practice, to get used to doing this, and you'll notice that you're about halfway up the wall once you land from this, so it's a nice little boost. But also keep in mind that when you do land, try to climb a little bit, as much as you can, against the side of the wall, like I mentioned earlier, because that will make you go faster in the long run. If you're on the lower area of core, you can do a neat little slug jump off the heels of these giants to actually get back up to the upper area. Note also that the edges of this platform are not diggable, while the middle of the platform is diggable. So once you land from doing the slug jump, you can land on the edge and then do a slope, a puncher cell, ideally. And yeah, that about wraps it for general movement in Death Chamber, or at least stage exclusive movement. The rest of it is mostly just generic hunting movement, like knowing how to punch a cell, knowing when to punch a cell, and stuff like that, knowing glide resets. Although you don't really use them that much in the stage. And the reason that there isn't that much general movement is because Death Chamber as itself, in terms of like moving around the stage, is not a very complicated stage at all. Like, it's really simple in its layout. If you notice that these rooms, you can't really slope boost because you have the dig claws already. These rooms are basically just a couple of tiers that you run down, and then you're into the next room anyway. And most of the time you're going to be spending in this stage is going to be out of bounds or dying, so that's really all you need to know. Clips. Give me your nuts. So the first and arguably most important clip to learn in this stage is booty clip, and I'll give a quick demonstration of what that looks like. So essentially you go up behind this cheeky fella up here, this golden box, and you jump and clip out of bounds. So to break down what I did there, let's go through this step by step. The first thing you're going to want to do is get up to next to where the golden container is at the top. So I'm just going to climb up the wall here and land next to it. So now I'm standing next to this container. I can actually grab on the wall behind the container. So not the one on the left here, this one's not going to get you anywhere. Not the one on the right, obviously. I'm going to try and grab the wall completely behind this container. So you see how Knuckles is on the wall and he's climbing here? When you're on this part of the wall, you want to try and centralize yourself to the golden box. So like, you don't want to be all the way over to the left or all the way over to the right. You want to try and be as close to the middle as you can here. And then simply just hold down to shuffle into the box. I'd say when you're about halfway into the box, so I would let go of the analog stick, because if you keep going down, you'll just like start going out of the box again. So like, yeah, you'll see like every time, if I keep holding down every single time I do this, I will be kicked out of the box. So what I do is, I climb down on the wall, and then when I'm like halfway into the box, I let go of the analog stick, and Knuckles should fall just behind the box here. And now that Knuckles is behind the box, the next step is to do a full jump, and then glide immediately as you see Knuckles leave this little enclosed space. So what I mean by that is, you don't want to do a half jump, because you're not even going to go at the box at this point. You don't want to do like a little bit of a jump, because you're just going to land back on the top of it. What you want to do is hold A until you see Knuckles completely disappear. So now he's like entirely out of bounds, right? And this is exactly what you want. This is the entire clip right here. So as soon as you see him completely disappear, when he's completely out of bounds, that's when you start gliding, and now you've clipped out of the stage. So to go through that again, you want to get up onto this part of the wall, land next to the box, jump and grab onto the back wall, shuffle yourself so that you're into the back of this container, do a full jump so Knuckles is now invisible, he is now out of bounds, and then start gliding once you can't see him anymore. So once you're out of bounds, which direction do you go? Well, actually, it entirely depends on which piece you have. The main thing that you're going to use booty clip for is to go towards blue room. So to say like if you had fire dance piece 1, or if you're not using box clip, which we'll cover on later, most of your blue room piece 1s is going to be faster to booty clip for. And to get the blue room, once you clip out of bounds, you want to immediately hold up left just to make sure that you can get the camera back in. And at this point, I will start holding the right trigger as well. Just so I'm trying my best to get the camera to clip out of bounds here. It's really awkward and it's really stupid, and sometimes you can fix this by gliding a little bit forwards before you start going in any direction, but then keep in mind you're also going to lose a lot of height by doing that. So I just kind of try and finesse the camera to get back in bounds here by doing some crazy movements and stuff, essentially. And once you break your camera out of bounds, it sounds crazy to say what I just said, but once you start doing this clip, you'll realize that this camera is not cooperative at all, and you kind of do just have to feel it. Once you get the camera out of bounds, you're going to notice the red-blue path here. You can see it fully in view, and yeah, you just want to glide straight past it. Try and make sure not to land in these rooms, because you will soft lock yourself and there'll be no way to get back in bounds. If you're going to go towards fire dance, you clip back into this room here. As the room where fire dance is, you'll probably be able to tell by radar. And if you're going to go to blue room, you can actually glide all the way across here into the machine's path at the bottom of where blue is, and now you're in blue room. And the other 3 main areas that you'll access with booty clip are actually the secret rooms in the stages. So a fun fact about the secret rooms in Death Chamber is that they're not actually stored on the other side of the wall paintings that they're next to, or that you theoretically think that they should be next to. They are stored way far out of bounds in the map. And you can reach them all pretty easily with booty clip. So instead of clipping into the area with fire dance and then digging through the wall painting to get to red-blue secret, it's actually straight ahead of you when you clip out of bounds of booty clip. And what I mean by that is, if I clip out and I just hold straight forwards right now, like no other angle, you'll notice that on my right there, that is actually the red-blue secret room. So I can clip straight into this, and I am now in red-blue secret without having to go through the corridors all that way. And this will save you a lot of time. A common scenario that you would use this, let's say I had 2 mouths as my piece 1. I'm going to go all the way over here, I'm going to go grab 2 mouths. Ignore my little fuck up here, don't worry about that, it's fine. I grab 2 mouths, and then I go to read my hint, and my hint actually says Ghost protects the goddess. Now, logically here, you would think, that I might just go through blue room to get to red-blue, I might go through red-blue path, or I might do blue box clip to go to where fire dances and dig through the wall painting. We'll cover blue box clip a little bit later. But actually, the play here is, if you had a red-blue secret room piece, you would just turn around and then go to do booty clip. Because realistically, this is your best option now. It is right here out of bounds. You don't have to go through any corridors, you don't have to go through core at all. It is just right here. GG. And that's far from it either, because if you go towards where red blue secret is, and then you just keep going a little bit more to the right, what's that? It's blue secret! Can you believe it? And yes, if you click back in there, you will be in blue secret room immediately, without having to go to blue room at all. From red room, you can reach blue secret in seconds if you do this booty clip. And if you keep going even more to the right, just over in the distance there, you can see green-red secret. And this one's a little bit harder to clip into. You have to have really good glide resets to make it all the way over here. But yeah, you don't even have to run down the path at all. As long as you don't get killed by the robots. And this is Booty Clip's main use, honestly. After you learn all of the other clips, the main reason that you'll be using Booty Clip is to get to those secret rooms, because it is by far the fastest way to obtain all of these areas if you're coming from core or red or just anywhere that's kind of out of the way. Alright, let's cover Green Door Clip. So Green Door Clip is a very easy way to access areas like the Green Secret Room and also Red-Green Path from core. And it's super useful to learn really early on in Death Chamber as well, just because of how easy it is to do and how much time you will save getting to these areas. So a typical Green Door Clip would look like this. So Green Door Clip is a piece of cake. Really all you're trying to do is jump and glide at this seam in the door. It's a little hard to get used to, trying to figure out the metrics of how much speed and what angle you need to have to get into this door, but just know that you don't actually need any speed at all. You can do this from just standing still right next to it, as long as you have the right angle and you glide straight into it. What I like to do is imagine that there's like a small gap between the door and the wall, which is kind of true in terms of how the game processes objects and stuff, and I aim to try and jump and glide into that gap and like squeeze my way through the door, and usually that will work out for me. Now let me show you some uses of what you're probably going to want to do with this clip. So the main one is to go to Green Room Gorilla's Chase area, like, I don't know what you really call that. I used to call it Green Secret, but I don't actually think it's classed as a secret room. So as soon as you break out of bounds, you want to lose a little bit of height so that you don't clip immediately back into the green hallway area. And then you want to glide straight down and then up to your right, and you'll essentially get a feel for where this area is. It's pretty, you can see it as soon as you clip out of bounds, so you shouldn't really get lost here. You can just go straight into this area, and this is where Gorilla's Chase is, and it's the fastest way to get to the pieces in this room. You can also use this clip to get to places such as above Omochow. Now once I'm out of bounds, I'll hold pretty much straight forwards but a little bit to the left, and then when my camera clips back in, the reason I hold a little bit to the left is so that the camera has more chance of clipping back in bounds rather than getting stuck there. And then I'll immediately hold upright so I can go towards the area where this ghost is. And right now I'm where the piece above Omochow is. I'm also where the piece White Family is. And there's just a lot of pieces in this area that you can access through core. You can also access the hallway area, the red-green secret portal, to get to red-green quite quickly from core. And the way you do this is you clip out of bounds, and then you turn a little bit to the left immediately, and you can kind of see the portal already when you flipped out here. It's just down straight ahead, and you can dig through here to immediately be in red-green secret. It's the moment you've all been waiting for. It's blue box clip time. Now this is one of the most integral clips to learn in terms of going fastest in Death Chamber. And we're going to set this up really easily to start with, just so you can get a grip of how to clip out of bounds here. So to do that, I'm going to go, and I'm actually going to set up on this pillar here with a switch. So if I was going from red room, I'll do what you just saw me do there. I would go onto this pillar and then glide across to this pillar. And the reason I recommend starting off on this pillar is so that you can get a really easy grip on how to actually do blue box clips so that you can do the fastest setups later on. This is just the easiest setup so that you can learn and understand how to do the clip. Now the reason blue box clip is so easy as opposed to red box clip is that this game gives you actually the perfect cue and setup to do this clip. And let me show you what I mean. So to start with, you're going to jump and glide towards this map monitor. I would get a moderate amount of it. You don't need a full jump for this, but I wouldn't tab jump and glide there. You want to make sure that you're aiming towards this map monitor on the wall. And then as soon as Knuckles is colliding with this map monitor, like as soon as he touches it, that's when you immediately drill dive, and you'll notice that Knuckles only breaks the bottom box here. And what should happen now when I unpause is that the top box will shift me into the wall and immediately push me out of bounds, in which case I start gliding pretty much instantly. Otherwise I'm just going to fall to the eternal abyss if I do nothing here. And I'm going to start gliding forwards to go towards blue room. And I actually almost clipped back into blue floor there, so I glide a little bit too much forwards, but you can fix that in slight tweaks in your angle later on once you get better at the clip. So yeah, this map monitor is actually your guide, not only in knowing the location and whereabouts in depth chamber you are, but to doing this clip. So once again, I'm going to jump and I'm going to glide, and as soon as I'm about to hit that map monitor, I'm going to drill dive and it'll break the bottom box and clip me out of bounds. And you'll notice that I'm always using the right box to clip out here, and that's actually really important to keep note of, because clipping out on the left side and the right side is entirely different and are used in different scenarios. So remember how we clip out immediately on the right side? That actually doesn't happen on the left side. You'll notice that if I try to clip out on the left side, Knuckles will kind of just get shifted into the wall and he will sit and stay here. And why is this useful? Because it gives us an opportunity to jump and get extra height from this. Now you've really got to be careful with how you clip out of bounds from this position, and keep this in mind because this will come in handy later on if you're trying to learn red box clip after this. Because clipping out with red box clip follows a very similar technique. So the way you clip out here is similar to how you do it with booty clip, except you want to glide towards the left rather than gliding straight backwards. You want to make sure you got a full jump just so that Knuckles reaches the top area of this doorway, and now he should be entirely out of bounds. If you glide too early, you will actually just collide with this little section of the entranceway here, and it will push you back in bounds. So you want to make sure that you're at the apex of your jump, and then once you're at the apex of your jump, you want to glide immediately to the left to go over and out of bounds. Like behind where this flame is on the wall, you're aiming to go just behind this flame, and now you've flipped out of bounds with extra height. So from this point, you want to start angling forwards, but then a little bit to the right as well to get back on track to go towards Blue Room, because if you hold straight forward, so you'll go way past Blue Room. And then try and get your camera to clip back in bounds. I do this by just holding the left trigger a little bit until the camera turns. And now you'll notice that I'm going towards Blue, but I have a lot more height than I would have done on the right side, because I didn't clip out immediately. I reserved all of that height and gained a little bit extra by jumping as well. That's really useful for getting to pieces that are high up in Blue Room, like this one in the corner, for example. So just keep that in mind. Left is for height, and right is for speed. In this example, I've got a piece like it's the only one facing the other way, which is on the top shelf of Blue Room. In this case, I'm going to go to get the height. I'm going to start gliding towards Blue Room. And notice I've got so much height in doing this. So I'm going to land immediately where this piece is on the upper wall. But if I just wanted to go towards Blue normally, I would choose the fast clip out on the right here so that I can get towards Blue Room without having to wait or mess around or do any of that height stuff.
Psst, if you want to get to Blue's secret from Core, just use the left one. Because you can glide around and like go through the wall painting and shit.
So now that we've covered Blue box clip, let's move on to the infamous and ever so intimidating Red box clip. For red box clip, I like to use the slope jump setup, which is where you jump off of this slope to gain your height. And this clip is really all about speed and height. So usually I'll start from a place like all the way back here, and I will build up a little bit of speed, jump into the slope, jump off of this slope. I kind of messed it up there, so let me try it again. I'm not used to doing it from sort of a tutorial angle, I guess. But you'll notice how I've got a lot of height here, and I've got a decent amount of speed. So if I was to do that all the way from back in red, I would go up here, I would do a jump onto this, jump off of this, onto the slope, off of the slope, get enough height, start gliding towards the box, and then comes the fun and the hard part, the clip part. So once you've got enough speed and height, keep in mind that this is pretty much exactly like the blue door box clip in Core, except you don't have any indication of what time you actually want to get into the box here. So what you're aiming for is you're aiming to break just the lower box and not the upper box, like that exactly, and then get shoved into the side of the wall, but you don't have any cues to actually do this. So I know it's kind of a ball ache to say, but you really do just gotta keep doing this and keep trying to feel it out for yourself. There's a really good tutorial actually for sort of a visual cue that you can do with this hint monitor that Drumbasher made, and I'll link that in the description of this video. So if you're struggling to find your own timing with this, I'd recommend trying out the Drumbasher method, because it might actually work for you. That's all I can really say about Red Box Clip in terms of getting into the clip. You just kind of have to feel it out for yourself in terms of when you should drill dive, make sure that you've got enough height and enough speed to approach the boxes with, and basically pray for it. It is not a luck-based thing though, it is entirely skill. You can learn to be good at Red Box Clip over time, you just need to learn how to time it. And there isn't a really good indication of how you should time it, it's more just keep playing it, keep trying it until you eventually, it sort of clicks in your brain and you'll know how to do it. So once you're in the box ready to clip out, remember how you clipped out on the left hand side in the blue room call box clip, where you had to do a full jump to make sure that you're above the threshold for the entryway to this corridor, and then glide? That's exactly what you do on this red box clip as well. If you've clipped into the right box, make sure to glide immediately to the right to clip out of bounds. If you clipped into the left box, glide immediately to the left. Once you're out of bounds, you're going to keep gliding immediately until the camera corrects itself, and then at this point, you'll be able to see where you want to go. So say if I wanted to go towards blue room, you can kind of see blue room just up ahead of me at this point. So I'm going to keep gliding towards blue room. And in this case, I missed a glide reset, so I've kind of screwed myself in height, but I can just glide straight into the water that's here. I'll be fine to enter blue room this way as well, and I just entered blue room in the fastest way I can in the stage. One thing to keep in mind that is the boxes on the left are mostly used to clip out to go towards green room, and the boxes on the right are mostly used to clip out to go towards blue room. Which makes a lot of sense if you think about where the rooms are located on the map compared to where these boxes are. So say if I was to go towards green room, it would look something like this. I forgot to mention earlier as well, but to hold left to clip out of bounds, it's just your starting clip angle. As soon as you're actually out of bounds, try and correct your angle so you can go towards the room. This is usually either straight forwards, in the case of going towards the green room, or if you're going towards blue room, it's still a little bit to the right, but it's more so forwards again. Whatever. Sorry, I'm terrible at making tutorials. I'm really trying my best to talk right now. Let's cover monitor clips, and if you've ever played Aquatic Mine, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Yes, these fuckers are back, and in Death Chamber it's actually a little bit harder than it is in Aquatic Mine too, just because the wall that you're clipping out of is slightly higher, which means that your timing has to be a little bit better. If you've played Aquatic Mine before and you already know monitor clips, you basically just have to apply the exact same intuition, except make sure that you time it a little bit later because you have to cover this entire clearance of wall here before Knuckles actually gets out of bounds. But if you don't know what a monitor clip is, let me go through it here anyway. So the first thing to keep in mind with monitor clips is that you want to be as central to the monitor as you possibly can. It's not going to work if you're next to the monitor or either side. You want to be at least underneath the monitor and hopefully as close to the middle as you can for a higher success rate. You can do it a little bit to the edge of the monitor, but it doesn't work as often. So try and be as central to this monitor as you can. Once the monitor is right above your head, here comes the hard part. So next thing you want to do is you're going to want to trigger a spiral up, but you don't want to move out of this location either. And this can be really hard because doing a spiral up usually means you'll go a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right if you're inexperienced. And obviously the clip won't work unless you're right underneath this hint monitor. So what I recommend doing for this is spiral uppering really quickly, like doing the spiral inputs on your controller really quick, because if you do it slowly, you'll notice that Knuckles shifts a lot more to the left or right. But if you do it really quick, you can actually get Knuckles in a position where he doesn't really move that much, and therefore when you do the spiral, you should be pushed out of bounds. Once you see Knuckles disappear into the Ava, i.e. when he's no longer visible on screen like this, you want to start gliding towards the direction that you want to go. And if you're clipping out from monitor clip from blue room, you want to go pretty harshly towards the left, because most of the time you're going to want to go towards core, or at least to know where you are in the stage, go towards core as a nice little visual cue. From blue room, the main reason you're going to want to monitor clip is to get to an area like Gorilla's Chase, which is accessible from out of bounds with this clip with perfect height. It does load in pretty late, so you have to know generally the direction that you want to go, so I'll talk you through that now. So to get a Gorilla's Chase, once you clip out of bounds, you're going to want to glide towards core, which is immediately to your left. I actually glided forwards a little bit and changed the camera so I can clip my camera out of bounds before going towards core. This is helpful to me so I know actually where I'm going, and then I'm just going to go around the ring of core, like I'm going to follow this wall until I start seeing green. At this point, I kind of know where I am, right? I can see green room, so I can kind of assume that the little area off to the side of green room where Gorilla's Chase is going to be connected to green room. So I'm going to go a little bit further out from green room, and hey, I'm right here. No way. You wanna buy some weed? Ah! So I pity you if you have this scenario, but you can actually get a red-green secret from blue room, and the way you do that is as soon as you get out of bounds, you wanna glide a little bit towards core, but as soon as you start to see core, you actually wanna go to the other direction. It's faster to go this way for this piece. And the reason why is because the wall painting is pretty much right here, right? And this is the only case that you'll ever go the other direction with this clip, and I don't really know what I'm saying, but yeah, you see what I mean. Note that it's much harder than wanted to clip on the green room side of things. It's actually really easy to clip back into the stage accidentally. There are so many places that you can do this from the monitor clip in green room. So the easiest way to clip out of bounds and make sure that you stay out of bounds in monitor clip in green room is to try and go as much to the left as possible when you clip out of bounds. Like, I'm going pretty hard to the left here. I'm trying to envision this corridor, what it looks like from out of bounds, and how I can go alongside this exact corridor that I'm in right now, out of bounds, to get the core without clipping in bounds. And it's difficult because the camera will also try and get stuck in as many places as it can, but if you can break out successfully, you should be on your course to get towards wherever you want to go from here. Let's do some object clips. Now, the easiest one to practice this on is actually this weight in core. And what I mean by object clip is a clip like similar to aquatic mine sign clips where you use another object like part of geometry of the stage to push you out of bounds. Sorry, that isn't part of the stage's geometry to push you out of bounds. And one characteristic you're going to notice with these clips in Death Chamber is that you pretty much always want to pause buffer them because you want to glide really quickly like you just saw there to get out of bounds with these clips, and you also want to be facing pretty much directly straight on with them. So the easiest way to do this is to pause buffer by A, pause, unpause A, kind of like you would do a pause hover, exactly the same as a pause hover, just to clip out of bounds a little easier. Now these are very limited use and are quite pretentious to actually do in a run, but it's kind of just a thing that you'll do to show off or if you have no other options left for whatever reason. So you want to make sure that you're facing the weight exactly in this case. So like I don't want to be a little bit to the left, that's not going to work, that's not going to work, you know, I want to be dead on facing this weight. And then I want to do the pause hover inputs, the A pause, unpause A. And it should shift me out of bounds. In this case, I'm doing it from the weight in core, which means I can go all the way to blue room. You can actually make it there to where the 4 square pillars piece is if you're good enough with glide resets. Obviously, I took a moment to show you around where I was, so I lost a lot of height doing that. But this is the only real use that you can find with this weight clip, is going to this area. I guess if you've missed red box clip and you don't want to do blue box clip for whatever reason, you can do it that way as well. You can also do this on this Mystic Melody Shrine to clip out of bounds. This one's pretty much only useful for going to this, like, Lost Chow area though, I think, and even then there's faster clips for this method. And perhaps the most interesting and underutilized one, and it's underutilized because this one's complete bullshit. You can't really align yourself properly because the camera doesn't really show it well, but you can clip out of the fire dance area, and this is the first way we have ever discovered to clip out of red-blue. Before we found this, it was considered to be an impossible challenge. So you can actually break out of red-blue like that. It's just really difficult, really bullshit, and it's very underutilized. If you moody clip to go to green-red secret for the piece Iron Protects the Safe, if you have good enough glide resets, and now this is a hard challenge, you need really good glide resets to do this, you can actually clip straight into the back of the safe where the piece is. This is the fast setup for blue box clip, so instead of going to setup on this pillar like I mentioned earlier, this is just the way that you learn how to do the clip really. The actual fast way of doing this clip is, say if I was coming from the red room door here, I would run straight onto the floor, slope jump off of this slope. It's kind of a weird timing, so definitely get used to this. Get as much height as possible, and then drill dive into the boxes and clip out of bounds. Breathe. Okay, I think we've covered all that's to know about clips in the stage. All the important clips at least, all the things that even the clips that aren't really that important to learn. We've covered pretty much everything I could think of at this point, but if there's anything more, I'll just add it in the extra section. Wow. What is the treasure hunter order from KFC? 3-piece chicken. Bugs on patrol? Let's play a game of Spot the 3-piece. Try and find the 3-piece in this next club. Well, did you see it? This one is not easy. It's actually this piece that's moving around up here. Let's watch this again, but slower. So I have this running at a quarter speed. Pay attention to the very top right corner of the screen. Now this is gonna go by really, really slowly, but it only appears for a couple of frames. Did you see that? See that there? That's Bugs on Patrol, and you can barely see it as you load into the stage. And this applies to every time you load in from the stage select, every time you load in Hero Story, every time you die or reset, you should always be looking at the very top right corner of the screen when you load into the stage. Just because there is a very, very small glimpse you can get of this piece, and it's definitely something that you can train to see often. It's definitely something that is very noticeable. Like, this is not a hard thing to do, it's just something that's really hard to get used to, because you have to be prepared for it to be there. to be able to see that like couple of frames that is actually on screen for. And keep in mind that this can only be done in the widescreen variant of this game. You cannot actually see this in the 4x3, so make sure that you're running your game in 16:9. Otherwise, this 3-piece check just doesn't work at all outright. And this is definitely the hardest 3-piece check to know in this stage. Now, you may be wondering why, when I do my starting movement, I always turn the camera around to face the torch behind me, and that's because of this piece right here. This is a piece called Roasted Gears, and it's actually visible from when you start the stage if you check for it by turning the camera. And you have to make sure to turn the camera every single time you load into the stage, otherwise you will miss this piece. There's no other way to see this apart from if your camera is directly facing it. So that is why I will always like flip my camera around to face this giant flame at the back every time I start the stage, instead of just doing this and then continuing on with my life. When doing booty clip, first of all, you can actually get really lucky, and there's a piece that called Beauty and the Beast that's in the booty clip box that you can collect as you clip into it. That's really lucky, but also, when you're out of bounds, you should always turn your camera to face Red Room, since it gets rid of every wall in Red Room and exposes pretty much every free piece in this area. So as you can see, I have a piece up there called, I think that's Bug's Baby actually, and there's so many that you can see from clipping out of bounds just when looking at red. I don't really have to go through each specific one, because you should hopefully be able to see it by playing a quick game of Where's Waldo, like just looking around and being like, hey, there's a key there. And then yeah, from here you can decide if, because I have red body at the moment, so honestly I'm not going to go back in bounds to grab that piece. I could, it might be a good decision, but you have to make this decision on your own, whether it's worth going back to grab this piece and then clipping back out of bounds, or if you should just leave it and let it rot. If at any point during your gameplay of Death Chamber you find yourself going through core and your piece isn't in core, you just happen to be heading through there, it's worth checking for all of the pieces that you could actually see once you run through core as well. So what I typically do once I've first entered core is usually immediately there's a piece called Merry-Go-Round that will be on a flight path sort of similar to the one I'm taking right now, circling the perimeter of this giant core machine, that will either be right in your view or just a little bit to the right of your view over here. So I'm going to jump and glide towards this pillar. If I don't see Merry-Go-Round coming towards me at this point, I'll go a little bit to the left to check for a piece called Eggman's Eye Level, which is about right where I'm gliding right now. Right in front of, well, Eggman's Eye Level, I suppose. And if it's not there, you can kind of see it. It is in draw distance if you glide a little bit to the left, just so you make sure that you can check that area. Then if it's not there, I'll go back towards the right, jump onto this pillar, and then there's a piece called Angel's Ring, which is rotating the head of this statue, and it sort of goes around in a circle here. And if I don't see that, I probably don't have any free pieces in core, which is really sad, but at this point I'm already at this pillar, and this is a perfect setup for Blue Box Club, which is most likely the direction I'm going to be going towards. So I would just go towards Blue Box Club and do it as normal. If I'm going to Green Room through core, my checks are probably going to be a lot more limited, since it will waste a lot of time going all the way over to check for Angel's Ring. So usually what I'll do is I'll just run down here like normal, and I'll quickly glance up for Eggman's Eye Level along the way. If I don't get it, then it's fine, I'm just going to go straight to Green Room as I would. Are you ready for some advanced piece checks? So this is the one that essentially carried me to getting Death Chamber World Record. If you have a piece in the red-green pathway, like Burning Mad, yellow and black stripes, black and yellow stripes, anything along this pathway, and your piece 2 is in Blue Room, you could actually do a really funny piece 3 check along your way, along the path towards Blue, if you take a slightly different alternative route to Blue Room. So normally you would think to go to Blue Room from here, you would either do Red Box Clip or go through Core and do Blue Box Clip, depending on how confident you are. But actually what I started doing is I started going to Blue Room Secret, because if you have a piece in red-green hallway, there's a pretty big chance that your piece 3 is actually in this room, and you can check for all of these pieces out of bounds. You may have to turn the camera slightly to the right as you enter, well, as you get close to this room, just so you can check the piece behind the scorpion, because otherwise it will be obstructed from view. But you can check all 3 pieces that are in this room as a piece 3, and then once you're done checking them, if you don't have your piece, that's kind of sad, but you are likely to get a piece here. So you should always check this. You can dig through the wall painting, and you're in Blue Room anyway, so you didn't really lose much time checking that piece. Or those pieces, I should say. More in-depth strats later, so maybe come back to this, but if your piece 1 is in Blue Room and you do a depth strat, and your piece 2 is in Green Room when you reroll, this also applies to if your piece 1 is in Green Room, you depth strat, and your piece 2 happens to be in Blue Room on your reroll. The main thing to keep note here is that your piece hasn't been in Red Room yet, so it can spawn any pieces in Red Room from a possibility like this. what you can do as a little baller check, actually, if you're really hurting on time to try and save your run, like in Hero Story, is you can check this piece, which is like dug in the ground next to these 4 containers here. It's called 4 suns that are staring at each other, and then you can immediately run and check Scorpion hiding in a box. And these 2 pieces are quite like they're really, really common if your piece 1, piece 2 doesn't contain red at all, since it locks out pretty much every other piece that it could be anyway. When doing box clip to get the blue room, if you turn your camera at a specific point, you can actually see the piece flat Scorpion that's under the weight in core usually. I kinda messed up and my camera didn't follow me immediately here, so now I'm gonna be losing time by doing this, because it wasn't a smooth transition, it's gone a bit awkward. But the piece is like typically around this area, it's under the weight, about where I am right now. You see the shadow of the weight just above me. It'll be floating about there, and you can see it as you clip out of bounds and go straight towards blue room. Keep in mind that the camera rarely cooperates with you on this one. In terms of free pieces to check, that's just about it. So let's move on to the icon of this stage. Basically just Florida. So, Death Chamber is where things get a little bit inhumane, because instead of seeing your lives, like actual physical lives, as something that keeps you, you know, going, keeps you breathing, you should start seeing them more like warp tokens. And what I mean by this is that dying is commonly used in the stage more so just to teleport back to Red Room. And why is this so good? Well, let's just say there are a lot of Red Room Piece 2s that you can get upon respawning that if you respawn right back into Red Room, you are immediately going to be on top of that piece. So I've gone to collect my piece in Blue Room. Now watch what happens when I die. I'm going to respawn into Red Room and I'm right next to my piece. Yeah, this is kind of broken. But it doesn't exactly work like that. There's actually a lot of science and math nerd statistics behind how this works and where you should do it and how often you should do it. And that's mostly what we're going to be focusing on here. I'll put a link into the description of the main document that I'll be referring to as often, because this is the it's the go-to resource that tells you every single percentage chance that you'll get from every piece on if you'll respawn with a piece 2 or not. Make sure that when you respawn, you also do the bugs and patrol check as mentioned earlier, because you can actually get bugs and patrol from a respawn. And what's super awesome about that is because of the way that the piece generation works in this game, if you collect your piece free and then continue dying, it actually doesn't lock out the possibility to get another piece in Red Room. So, provided that you collected Bugs on Patrol, which is a piece free, you can actually continue dying to also get another piece in red, your piece 2, which will then give you 2 pieces in the same room that you've immediately spawned next to. That was kind of a mouthful, I know, and I probably didn't explain that very well, but hopefully you got at least a little bit of an understanding from that. So let's talk about whenabouts you should actually death strat in this stage. As you can see from this image that I put on the screen, Blue Room Piece 1s have a really high percentage chance of giving you a piece immediately as you respawn in the Red Room. It's around 40% chance average for each piece in Blue Room, so yeah, it's almost 50% chance. It's like almost a 1 in 2 that when you respawn, you'll actually get a piece right next to you. And the main point about this is that it's not one death. You can keep on dying. So even if you didn't get a piece when you respawn, you can just immediately jump into the flame again, and then keep rolling until you do get a piece that's right next to you. So provided you have enough lives, you can do it on something like EO1 core, which actually has a relatively low percentage chance compared to the other pieces, but keep in mind that you can just keep dying once you respawn in the Red Room, so even if I don't get a first try death strat piece here, which I actually did, note that, let's just pretend I didn't get a first try death strat piece, I could just die again. See, I didn't get one now, I'm gonna keep dying until I actually get a piece that's right next to me. That's 2 deaths, it's quite unfortunate. But even then, I've still got more lives to use, and I'm gonna eventually roll into a piece that I can grab immediately next to me, in this case, Roasted Keys. You can also death strat green room pieces, but do note that they have a much lower percent chance of working out, as you can see on the document there. So, do this at your own discretion. What a lot of people will do when loading into the stage is check for a green room piece, and if they have a green room piece, they'll just reset immediately in hopes to get a piece that's in blue or core. This is most likely what you'll see people do in Hero Story, as they're much more aggressive with what times they want in that category. Personally, I'm a chance player, so I just take whatever I can get and then keep dying until it gives me a piece. That is to say though, I will draw a limit, and I do not death strat any of the close core pieces like Pattern Shorts and Scorpion Tattoo, because they're pretty close to Red Room and they have a lower chance of giving you a piece, but also their sets without dying are just really good. So you should probably be taking these pieces deathless anyway. I've heard a lot of people lately not death stranding on Big Marshmallow as well, even though that has pretty decent odds. Just because Big Marshmallow's sets without dying are actually really good to just take, so make of that what you will. At the end of the day, death strats have and always will be just a risk-reward sort of situation. So again, think of your lives as sort of teleport tokens, where if you're in blue room, you could just use a life to teleport immediately to red room, and hope that you re-roll a piece that's right next to you as well. There are death strats that exist too that aren't necessarily to re-roll into a piece. See, like if I was in blue room for my piece 2, and my piece 3 was like red-green secret, that's so far away from where I am, I'm probably honestly just gonna take a death and respawn in red room for the sake of getting a different piece, or being in a better location in case it gives me the same piece again. Because if I respawn in red and it gives me a red-green secret piece again, now I'm in red room, which means I can just booty clip straight out of bounds and then glide straight to my piece. So that being said, let's talk through a typical Death Chamber playthrough of a hero story run. Now keep in mind that in a story mode setting, you are most likely going to want to grab the hammer gloves, more on that later, but that's what I'm immediately going to do first. I'm going to check for roasted keys, which is not there in this case, and then I'm going to go grab my upgrade, and after grabbing my upgrade, I then consider what my hint is. My hint is sniper, so in this case I'm going to do the blue room red box clip. The red box clip on the side to go towards blue room, and then I'm going to start to go towards blue room to get to my piece, because that is where my piece is. I'm going to grab my piece, and then I'm going to die. Knowing that this has a high chance of giving me a red room piece immediately when I respawn. I spawned in the stage, I didn't get a piece, so I'm going to die again actually. And Hero Story is going to be timed in variant 1 as of this video's release, so keep that in mind. The more deaths you do, this actually doesn't lose you too much time in Hero Story. This loses like maybe a second per death. So I'm taking a really hard hit right now. I'm taking a lot of deaths before I'm actually getting a piece. But overall, I only really lost like 5 seconds, and I've already spawned right next to a piece. So I'm going to climb up immediately to grab my piece, in this case Bugs Baby. I'm going to read my piece 3 hint. It says merry-go-round. Really lucky from where I am. That is straight in core. So again, this would have been a pretty decent hero story time. I mean, those deaths were pretty unfortunate, but the piece 3 really did save it. And we're gonna come out here with a 38, plus the deaths. Now let's be real advanced. Or not really, actually. This is a relatively easy method that will save you a lot of time, and this is the biggest mistake I see people make in Death Chamber, and they consistently, especially for X20s, if you're doing X20s, you want to make sure that you're doing this, because you will lose 2 seconds every single split if you're not doing this already. And what that is making sure that you arrive at your piece 1 without any rings. And this could be a difficult task considering that your starting movement will most likely get you rings, trying to hit the hourglass and stuff. But in this case, let's pretend my piece 1 was Sniper in blue room, because Angry Guy isn't going to work out for this, and I'm pretty far into the flow of this explanation already. So I picked up 7 rings. How am I going to get rid of those? Well, you see this Gamma Robot here? He's actually going to be our friend in this whole thing. And he's going to be our key to losing all of these rings and saving those 2 seconds. So let's start from the top. Again, pretending that our piece 1 is Sniper here, even if it actually isn't. It is Big Marshmallow, let's not worry about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into this Gamma Robot intentionally. I'm going to get hit from him. But then I'm immediately going to do 2 A presses to initiate a glide to break out of this whole, oh shit, I just got hit phase from Knuckles. I'm going to land on the floor, do my slope jump as normal, do the box clip, go towards Sniper. I have 0 rings at this point. This is critical. Because having 0 rings here means I can go, grab Sniper, be sure not to get hit before I hit the enemy, of course, right? And then I can immediately die, and I don't have to wait for Knuckles to break out of his invincibility phase after being hit from the rings. Or after being hit and losing his rings, I meant. So to compare, let's go over there, but this time let's not get hit by the Gamma Robot, and we're not going to lose any of our rings, so we're going to go here with 8 rings, which is really bad, and you'll see why in a minute. I'm just going to go straight over to Sniper. I broke Sniper, but now I have to wait, because I've been hit, and I have to wait for Knuckles to stop being hit. I need to wait for him to stop having invincibility frames so I can make him get hit again and then die. And each time I have to wait for him to lose all those rings is 2 seconds that I could have saved by hitting this robot early on in the stage. Now, how do I lose my rings if I'm not going to go down that hallway? Well, in every example of this, actually, you will want to be doing booty clip, because if you're not going down that hallway, your piece 1 is either Angry Guy, or it's down red-green path, and in both scenarios, you don't want to death strat at all. So you should probably just keep your rings at this point. If you're going to booty clip, and you want to take damage along the way, here is what I do to do this. So say my piece 1 was 4 square pillars, right? I'm not going to go down the corridor to do box clip. I'm going to do booty clip because it's actually faster to get to this piece with booty clip. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my starting movement as normal. I've just clocked that it's 4 square pillars and I'm going to have to do booty clip. Now what I do is I glide into this flame, use the hover frames that I get from being hit to get extra height here, glide into the back wall, and now I have 0 rings and I'm also boosted up and it's a faster way to get to booty clip. And I have 0 rings. So now I can continue to do booty clip as normal. And I'm going to go towards my 4 square pillars piece. As I normally would. I'm going to grab the piece. And I can die immediately. That was so quick. I even had the guys help me out with the bullets. And you saw how quick that death was. Rather than having to wait on those rings to get rid of those rings. I cannot stress to you how important this is. This is so fucking important, and it will level up your Death Chamber gameplay by like 20 times. This is the biggest mistake I see everybody do in Death Chamber. Please do not be one of them. Alright, so yeah, that just about covers death strats. Quick reminder that in the description of this video, I will leave the link to the death strat percentage table, which will tell you exactly which pieces have exactly what chance of giving you a piece, so you can make your own judgment on if you want to die on them or not. And, yeah. Let's move on to some miscellaneous piece-specific tech. Big chongus, big chong. Know that in a hero story setting, it is very unlikely you're going to see these 2 pieces, since that most of the time you're going to be doing death strats from blue room and core, and even if you do death strats from green as well, you're going to get a piece 2 in red room, or you're going to reset your run. So, and if you have a piece 2 in red room, you're not going to see these pieces. So these are 2 very specific pieces that you'll probably not come across very often, that you should know about just in case. So the first one is actually right underneath where I am right now. The hint is called 4 suns looking at each other, and it refers to these 4 Eggman symbols that are like kind of having a staring contest on the wall over here. But it's the way I like to dig for this piece is by knowing that it's pretty much right next to these boxes, so I can feel comfortable in digging in the ground here, since there's no other visual cue really. And the next piece is called Scorpion hiding in a box, which is Scorpion hiding in this box. So you can just dig into the Scorpion and it will be right here. Thank you to Dawn SR for this idea. For the piece black and yellow stripes, you can actually do a small jump off of this gamma to get extra height towards getting this piece. Now this gamma can be in a random position or just anywhere across this floor, so it's really hard to, you know, estimate where he's gonna be. But if you can jump into him and fast enough, fuck, I'm stuttering. Yeah. If I miss the inputs for red box clip the first time, typically I back up by quickly jumping onto this pillar and then doing it from a glide. This one's kind of stupid, but if you have the piece above the small flame and it's the one just off of blue room, you can actually do a spiral up in the red box clip door frame. And if you get good glide resets with this, that will give you extra height, right? So if you're really good with your angle and glide resets, you can actually go straight into the room where this piece is. I actually just missed it for some reason. You can do this cool slope jump for 2 mouths. And similarly, if you have the piece 3 container brothers, you can just stand next to it and spiral up. EO1 is a really annoying piece because it can actually be in 2 separate locations, the first one being core, of which if it is core, it will start pinging as you climb on the wall right about now, as you can see. But if it is not core, you will know this immediately because it won't be pinging at this point. So what you will do is you'll go and do booty clip, and it's actually in the area right next to, sorry, not booty clip, green door clip, is in the area right next to white family, just on this door, on top of this doorway here. For the pieces, it will appear when you get closer, and white family, it's actually best to run down red-green path, and the reason why it's best to do this is because on the way there, there's actually a piece that we like to call Google Maps in this community. I think the actual name for it is go up, then left by wind power or something ridiculous like that, and it's just kind of vibing around this area, and you'll see it very easily on the way to this piece. The piece 1 Golden Goddess can be in 2 different locations, so the safest thing to do is to actually run through core and then get the hint that's like sort of down here, right next to where you are. And in this case, the piece 2 will always tell you which one it is, so this is blue path, and now I know that it's the one in blue room. For the piece Scorpion Tattoo, the game actually intends you to go around to the back of the statue and dig where the scorpion is on the back. What you can actually do is you can just land on the front and dig through the nipple as such, and it's kind of a little bit weird and finicky to actually do, but once you get it down, it's definitely worth learning, because this will save you maybe a second or 2 each time you get this piece. This piece is just fucking hilarious. There's a piece called Corner Light that spawns in this top corner. You could just spiral underneath the light, and you'll grab the piece without hitting the flame, because Knuckles will just kind of be pushed a little bit outwards of the flame. and this will always grab the piece's hitbox. So you can do this really quickly if you're coming from this area, by just going straight into the room and then immediately spiral up a ring, and you'll grab the piece. For the piece, huge black wall, you can actually grab it from out of bounds, and this is so much faster since now you can continue going down red-blue path out of bounds. You'll see what I mean in a second, but the piece is essentially in this 4th cage here, right on the edge in this sequence, and you can land on top of this cage and punch, and it's a little bit strange, but you should be able to grab the piece. Once you've grabbed this piece from on top of the cages, you can actually continue on out of bounds down the red-blue path. Now, why is this important? Because if you have this piece too, there is a weird, like, power that will always give you a piece free down red, blue, or further into blue, so you can just keep gliding until you get radar, and you're most likely to get a piece that's continuously down here as well. So you can just continue on that line and get basically 2 pieces for the price of 1. And this isn't always true, but it is most likely that you'll have a piece down this route. Same goes for a piece called Free Tails, which you can also grab from out of bounds, and this one's actually much easier since it's just kind of chilling behind this wall. Like, it'll be roughly where I paused right now. This is where the piece might be, and then you'll grab it, and you can continue on out of bounds like nobody's business, and maybe there'll be another piece out here. For a piece called Peekaboo Eggman, it's actually really precise, but you can dig into the very middle of this steel container to grab the piece. Now, you have to be really central, otherwise it won't work, because there's a very, very small hitbox to actually obtain this. But it's the fastest way to grab this piece. It says, as soon as you grab this, you should still have enough time left on this door to turn around immediately, go back through the green pathway, collect the green pathway hint, and then see what you're doing the rest of the set. You can grab Bugs on Patrol really quickly with a well-timed spiral on that slope. There are 3 extra pieces that you can grab out of bounds at this stage. The first one is Flat Scorpion, which you can actually just red box clip towards the blue side to do. So I'm out of bounds at this point, right? And then the piece is like underneath the weight right here. You see the shadow of the weight above me. You can grab this out of bounds. It'll just be chilling there, and it's perfectly obtainable. The second piece is actually just under the weight in blue over there. So if you did red box clip, you'll have enough height to glide over there and grab the piece that's under the weight. That one's called Flat Eggman. And the third piece is under the weight over here in red blue path, and that piece is called Under the Red Light, and it's also exposed out of bounds, and you can grab that piece without digging. And it's really, really important to know this, because it's really just, it just saves you so much time rather than clipping back in bounds to go grab these out of bounds. Are we done? I think we're done. Oh my god, I think we're actually done. Holy shit. Okay, so I'm not going to cover any confirmed sets that you should know in this video, because there are already really good documents on that all over the internet, so I'll put one in the description if you feel like learning the sets. There's just so many to cover in this video, and this video is long enough as it is. I just wanted to give a huge shoutouts to my guy NearUltimate. I would not be able to do this video without him, and he's actually just such a fucking legend. He's been one of my best friends for like a couple weeks now, maybe a couple months? I don't really know, but the guy's fucking great. Go follow his Twitch channel, he does a lot of speedruns of this game as well. And yeah, no, it's huge thanks to NearUltimate. And that about wraps it. That's the end of this like million-year-long special about Death Chamber. So yeah. I mean, feel free to join the community if you have any more questions. I'll leave the Discord link in the description as well. There's a lot of welcoming people here, a lot of people willing to help out, so if you have any more questions about Death Chamber that I didn't cover in this video, there's probably so much that I didn't cover. This stage is just too much, man. Feel free to join that server and use the Ask for Help channel to find more answers about this stage, and that's about it for me, I guess. I'll see you all around. Hey, do you want to buy some weed?